Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are with the Convene with the Strategy Team, and we meet here in this place to give you all the strategies that you need to grow your business, right? Today, I have the pleasure of introducing my co-host, Christi Farmer.
That's all right. That's me, Christi Farmer.
So I have the pleasure of introducing her, and it is a pleasure for me because as I've known her for over 20 years, I feel like these last few months, I've gotten to know you a lot more, right? So getting to know you in a different capacity is very interesting. Because I feel like for a long time, we known each other personally, but business-wise, I knew what it was that you did. Right. I knew you were out here changing lives, but I didn't know how this was all happening. So my name is Tameshia. I definitely forgot to introduce myself. But like I said, I do want to bring to the stage, to the chair, Christi Farmer. And with that being said, get started. So take me back to, I guess, the early days. Of how
not the 112 days.
right.
Not what was the other spots we used to go to? I can only think of 112, but I'm picturing there was a spot right under the varsity. What was below the varsity? There was a spot below the varsity.
The varsity?
Yeah, it was right next to the varsity. That was like a dungeon.
Okay, yeah, no, I can't.
I think we were 18 then. You could get in, but you couldn't drink.
So
there was a velvet room. Yes, there was.
Then the compound. That was kind of like
the compound.
Rounding it off.
We came up when we were going to the compound. So that's the way back. That was the college days. I was in college. I was in school for early childhood education to be a teacher of young kids. And it's funny because in 10th grade, I wanted to be a graphic designer. Do they even have those still today, or what are they titled?
No,
are they
called
something else?
Designer,
yeah, they made
artist?
They made a ton load of money back then when I was in 10th grade, and that's what I wanted to be, but it was only for the money. And my mom was like, "You should do what you would do even if you didn't get paid for it."
Good advice, Mom.
And I remember our senior year, they had us in. It was like an elective class, and we were to go into they were teaching us what you do in an elementary school, and then we had a chance to go into the elementary school and actually work with kids and students.
I stayed away from it. I did nursing. I did the nursing one.
And so I remember, can't think of her name. She was the best teacher, such a sweetheart, going into the school, and it was a 4th grade class maybe, and it was so easy. And I remember the teacher saying, like, "You're a natural at this." And then I decided to go to college for that.
Okay.
And when I was in college, the professors and everybody who'd come in and watch us, was a practicum. We were basically practicing being a teacher. And they would always say, "You have that natural eye in the back of your head. Like, you're talking to kids and you're teaching kids. And then without even looking up, you're like, do this. And it's like, how did you know that they weren't doing this or that they needed that?" And it just came naturally to me. And I'm like, well, that's something that I could do if I didn't even get paid for it. So I'm going to do that.
Okay.
And I was in teaching my first job out of college was teaching on the south side of Chicago.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, see, this is why I'm saying I didn't. Okay.
South side Shy, on State Street. So anybody who's watching this, who's familiar with Chicago, I was in one of the worst places to teach in Chicago.
Wait, so were you applying for Georgia positions too, or you knew you wanted to be in Chicago?
My first husband was from Chicago, and he had left school and was already back there. So I was going to get my master's there. I was like, I'll go there and get my master's. I'm going to go to Loyola University, and that didn't happen. I did move up there, but I didn't get my master's, and I ended up helping him financially. Then I got pregnant. I'm like, I'm not raising no kid here in Chicago. So I packed up. I came back to Atlanta because I was like, I felt like I knew Atlanta, and if I'm gonna raise a kid here, if they came home and was like, "Mom, I want to go here," I could be like, "No, you're not going there."
Right.
In Chicago, I didn't feel comfortable with that, so I didn't know if I'm raising a kid here and they come and say, "I'm gonna go here," and be like, "Okay, you can go there." And I wouldn't know that they ain't supposed to be there. So I came home and raised a kid. And the idea in education for me was I wanted at the time a lot of kids. I wanted 6. I wanted 6 boys, a starting 5, and a 6th man. That was like my dream thing. Okay. Married, 6 kids, 6 boys, grow up. I end up cooking. I
can't even imagine.
Yep, me neither now.
Imagine you did with this.
Yeah, okay. I can't see it now either. But I do see my business, and I do see the women that I work with and the lives that I change as my kids. Mm-hmm. And I do treat it like that. Like, I've treated it like you are building the next generation. And so going through, the one thing I did learn about being in education is I didn't feel like it's ever going to be able to give me the lifestyle that I felt like I deserved or wanted to have. In education, as an elementary teacher, I worked my way up to being a coach of teachers, to being an assistant principal, and
leadership. and
honestly, I've been leadership even in the classroom. My first job, because I went to Chicago mid-year. So I started in January of the school year. And so my first full year as a teacher, I was the grade chair. So I was responsible for teachers who have been teaching 20 years.
Not even your second year.
No, my first full year, they made me grade chair. And it's just who I am. I just show up and I tell myself, I'm going to get things done. And I literally do try to go in situations and just sit back and not like, I'm going to let somebody else do this. And I sit there and I'm like, so nobody's going to take over? Nobody's going to... We're just going to sit here and look at each other and be like, oh, I don't know what we're going to do.
Right.
Time is money. And I felt like that since the beginning of time. Like, I'm not just going to... So we could sit here for 2 hours and let somebody try to figure out that they're going to take the helm, or I could just take the helm.
Right.
And not really just bring organization to the situation. I really, at the end of the day, won't necessarily run it. Depending on what the goal is. If it's like we are at summer camp. And there's someone who's the creative person, right? And we need creativity done. Like, we need art processes or programs done. Like, I'm not going to run that, but I can see, like, that's your thing. All right, so we're going to put you in charge of that. And I'm going to give you, like, 1, 2, 3, can you have it done by Tuesday?
You'll manage it.
Yeah, I'll manage it. Yeah, I'll help manage it and bring that. And then eventually I start taking tests, like personality tests, Myers-Briggs tests, what's some other one? DISC tests over the years. And it just solidified what I wasn't comfortable with saying I was, because
which was what?
A boss.
Okay.
Like, at the end of the day, I like and enjoy telling people what to do.
Okay. So you came up through education, right? What was like other than the pay, right? What was something else that you were like, this is just not for me?
Honestly, it really was, it was the pay. It was the money. It was just like, I've always done side hustles, and they were really just to make, like I said, the money that I needed to live beyond paycheck to paycheck. What happened was my business started making more than my assistant principal pay.
And how did you get introduced to the business?
I Googled ways to make an extra $1,000 a month. Like, that was literally my Google search. And it was in 2011 that I Googled this. And that's when we were in a recession. That was when the gas prices, that's when we went from gas being like 79 cents to 97 cents a gallon, to it blowing up to $2. It went to $2. Now we're paying $4. But that was a big, and that's when milk went from change to dollars.
Just like eggs.
Cheese went from change to dollars. That's when everything went up, but my pay didn't change. Actually, we were furloughed, so we were given days off and less money. And given me, it's funny about the way that I think, because I'm laser focused on things. But when you give me a break for whatever the reason is, like my first marriage, I got a break from my husband, and he went and stayed in Texas, and I was in Georgia. And that break gave me time to be like,
it's like clarity. You can,
oh, wait, I'm sleeping good at night. Oh, wait, I don't have to save nobody from themselves. Oh, wait, it was like, oh, I'm not going back to that, because that was cloudy, and now I'm free. That's how it was in my full-time job. They gave me time off to sit at home and work my business more, and I was in charge of my money. And it was like, oh, I want to go do this because we have the days off. I want to go take my daughter to the zoo. Oh, well, let me go make this money to take my daughter to the zoo, because the full-time job was paying for my bills.
Living expenses.
The living expenses. That was good. But if we wanted to go downtown, like right now, I say to people, to go outside currently is $100 a day.
Oh no!
Like, just to walk out your door, you're spending $100. Period. And back then it wasn't $100 to walk out, but it was like 50 or 25, and I didn't have the 50 or 25.
If you're trying to make an extra $1,000 to not live paycheck to paycheck, all those little extra things that add up. So
exactly, and they gave me that.
Kids just add up. You had it. So you had a.
Yeah, I had a daughter at the time. Now I have 3.
Right.
So that was really what opened me up to, like, I don't have to report to people. If I could make this amount of money while working a full-time job, then I was confident that if I take away those 8 hours I was giving to somebody else today, which as assistant principal is more than 8, because I'd have to stay and do testing on Fridays. I'd go in because, they give you the key and the alarm code when you're assistant principal.
For the school?
Okay. Yeah, so I'd go in on Sundays to prepare for the week ahead. And so it's like, if I can match my full-time assistant principal pay while I'm working this full-time assistant pay, how much money could I make if I'm not here?
Right.
And that was the eye-opener for me.
Well, so that actually leads me to my next question, which is your whatever day of the week it was, you're laying down and you have to go give your resignation. What type of thoughts were like going through your head? Were you like, should I do this? Or like what was that thought?
Now, I will say that I prepared myself for leaving financially. Okay. So what I did was I lived off my business for my last school year as an assistant principal. Okay. So my assistant principal pay went away to my savings. I had 1 year of assistant principal pay put away. Now, here's this true transparency. I was making $65,000 a year on paper. How much actually came home to my savings account was $30,000
and taxes and from 65. So less than half of your check
actually came home to me in my savings. That was an eye opener for me because I think a lot of us, we're making $120,000 working corporate, or we're making $200,000 making corporate, or we're making $75,000 making corporate. We're not living off of that though. That's not what actually comes into our household. Is the $75,000 or the $60,000.
To even see that in your account and that you've been working a whole year, they told you were going to make $65,000. You have $30,000 in the bank. Actually,
I was working for $30,000 a year.
I'm sure you were pissed at that point. You're like, but you can have this.
I mean, that was literally the thing. It was like the best decision I could make is not walk away because yes, I have $30,000 to put away, and that my thought process because I'm in retail, and so I know that retail has its ups and downs, and when the down comes, I wanted to still be able to live the same lifestyle, not be scrambling to pay the mortgage, not scrambling to pay which at that time I didn't have a car. No, I was rolling on. It was a good car. It worked. It was paid off. And I just did not want to pay a car note.
Right.
So I didn't have that expense when I left. But I had a mortgage. I had home insurance. I had a kid who was in activities. So I had things that had to be paid. So that was you will never have to go back if you don't want to money. That was why I put that away. So that made walking away in my mind easier to do because I had some money put away. That whatever came my way, I can handle. I also, because I was listening to a podcast and they were saying how entrepreneurs say that we don't work for anybody, but we still work for whoever is paying for our service or our product.
You don't work for just one person. You work for
lots of
lots
of people. Whoever is paying for the product that pays your bills or paying for the service that pays your bills. And so I did feel confident that I had a product that I could sell because my business provides me a commission, which is from coaching my business partners to their success. And then it also provides me the ability to sell a product. So I loaded up on a product. I have different streams that come in from my business. So I loaded up on my product that if all else fails, I knew I could go stand on the corner. Like literally, I could stand on the corner and sling because I sell jewelry. So I could stand on the corner. Like there was a gas station in the middle of our community, Shell gas station, and I knew that if all else fails, I could go sit at this gas station, pull out this jewelry, and get
mortgage paid, insurance paid.
Absolutely, and I was in control of. That wasn't, my team not performing, and so we stuck because they're not performing. I was in control of selling that jewelry, and I wasn't too proud. Like I went into going full time knowing worst case scenario, I could get out here on this street and literally make these baskets for Valentine's Day if I needed to, go inside of jobs.
Well, the hair salons and stuff. So I would be getting my nails done or my hair done, and baby, people would be coming in and, hey, I got this. And I would buy it. I mean, it's the perfect time to buy when you're in a relaxed state, you're pampering yourself, you're doing something for yourself. You're like, heck yeah, that's cute, girl. So I totally get it. If all else failed, you were going to become the ultimate hustler.
Right. And I went into
and you had the product already.
I went into that space with knowing that could be an outcome. And that's the one thing I feel like some entrepreneurs, when they go into the space of working their business full time, they think it's always going to be beautiful and sunny outside, and you may not have to get your hands dirty. I went in prepared that if push comes to shove, I won't be too proud to say that I'm not going to have to get down and hustle like I used to hustle, even though I had made it to a point where I didn't have to hustle anymore. Right.
Okay. So, you've left your
career.
Your career.
What I went to school to get a master's degree for.
Right, baby. Student loans, you paying them
student loans to pay.
And literally, you were going to survive off that. But, so fast forward, it's the month later, right? Mm-hmm. What were you doing? Like, how did you like structure your days and stuff like that? Because when you are working for someone else, they've structured your day, right? And so they structure your day because they think that in their mind that that's going to be what's productive. But you're your own boss now. Mm-hmm. How was your day structured? Like, what did you do?
That is an excellent question. So I actually reached out to people who were full-time entrepreneurs and asked them, what is your schedule?
That is cool. Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. They were six-figure earners. Mm-hmm. I wasn't
Was it in your industry? Or could
it wasn't my, I did check with people who were in my industry. Okay. I also specifically checked with someone who was an educator before they went full-time in my industry. So I went to her and I said, how do you plan your day? And she was honest. She was like, you know what? I don't do a good job of it, of planning my day. But I figured she had to be doing something right because she was making seven figures. Mm-hmm. So you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. Like, you're doing something. But I also think we're critical of ourselves and think that it should be better. So I don't want to share with somebody because it's not better or what it should be. But she had something in place. So she gave me what she was doing, like her general weekly plan.
Okay. And what was that?
And then she also sent me to somebody else who is good for systems and processes who actually had their plan in black and white.
Okay.
So she just said she had like certain things she knew she had to do. Now it wasn't set, like by the end of the week, she had to do these certain things. Mm-hmm. It wasn't set for her like on Monday I'm going to do this, on Tuesday I'm going to do this, on Wednesday. She just knew that if Friday came and she hadn't done his things, then there's no leisure on Friday. It has to get done, right? The other person literally had, when I say black and white, like she had all her parts of business broken down. So things she had to do for herself, things she had to do for her team, things she had to do for her family, and then she had it broken down by things that were done daily things. There are some things that are done every day. There are some of the things that are done every week. There are some of the things that are done every month. There are some things that are done quarterly, and there are some things that are done every year. And then she had it, and this was written down in black and white. So, for example, she makes weekly calls. Every week she's going to call her team members. That's not a monthly thing, but quarterly she's going to do a quarterly team
meetup or something.
Right. Yeah. And then birthdays. So she does monthly. She's going to shout out people for her team for their birthdays. Then so what she had created was a DMO, a daily method of operating her business. And she says, companies do this all the time, but you don't think about it. You just come in and do it. You just come in and do it. And you think about what is your job. And I had to do it as assistant principal. What is a thing that I had to do every day when I came in? When I came in as assistant principal, every day I had to walk the building because the teacher's supposed to let you know they're not going to be there. But everybody doesn't do that, right? So I need to walk the building and make sure every classroom is covered. I needed my face to be seen. There are certain kids I needed to check in with every morning because if I knew how their morning started, I knew how the day was going to be. If they came in the morning and their morning started bad, I knew they were going to be in my office before the end of the day. So I would try. If they came in, I was like, and go sit down with them for breakfast and go try to talk them down off of their.
Never did that.
Well, they probably didn't do it with you. They probably were doing it with somebody. Right. And there were kids in my school that I knew without a shadow of a doubt, if I didn't check in and get them right in the morning, they were going to be in my office that afternoon without a shadow of a doubt. So I was trying to keep that, be proactive and keep that from happening. Same thing happens in my business. There's certain things, there's certain people that you have to check that I need to check in with and make sure that their month is good. Because if not, it's going to take time away from me at the end of the month because I didn't get them ready at the beginning of the month. Are these things that I like to do? No, but it are things that I know needs to be done in order for us to get goals met, things like that. So that was really very helpful for me on day one.
And so you went out and found these mentors before
shit hit the fan.
Well, what I'm saying, before you like turned in your notice and said I'm not coming back, you had already went out and searched these ladies, or did you do it after?
This was after.
Like you started rolling in yourself, and it was like, was it working out of what you were doing?
I felt like what I was doing was working. I felt like I needed another level of to get to a next level. I needed my productivity to be more streamlined.
Got it.
I felt like I was waking up and taking the cute pictures, the sunny pictures of me sitting at my desk, making my own breakfast. I was taking a picture of me putting my daughter on the bus in my robe in the morning, waving her by, posting that on social media. This is my life. Right. And the money was good, but I wanted more. And I wanted to see, is what I'm doing sufficient to get me to the level of the people that I see who have more. And so I just went to them. They're the source. Like, no need to guess. Like, go to the source and ask them what they're doing. And the one thing I've learned is people who, like, if you come to ask me a question, butter it up, like, give a compliment. Like, hey, I've been watching your like, let me know you've been doing some research or something.
Yes,
like, hey, I've been watching your podcast, or I've been watching you on social media. I see that you've done this and this and this. This is where I'm at. This is what I've already done. Could you give me an idea of how to do this?
Oh, she just told y'all how to ask questions.
Like, that's how you come to somebody's DM, right? Like, don't come in and just be like, can you tell me what's this, da-da-da-da.
Right.
Who the hell? Who are you?
What? Right.
And I also can't help you if I don't know who you are. Like,
you're currently doing.
If you just come ask me a question, I could give you a program or whatever, and that's not going to work for you because you haven't given me no background, no context or whatever. And that's what I did for the people. I mean, they did know me. I wasn't a stranger. We are in the same industry. They, when I reached out, they were like, congratulations. I saw that you are doing it full time. Oh, absolutely. I'll give you, this information. So I wasn't reaching out to somebody who makes 7 figures who doesn't know who I am at all, and I'm just in a DM asking them to hand over free information. It wasn't that scenario. But I would say before you go full time, you should already have a circle of people that when you reach out to them, they're going to feel comfortable or open to helping you. Right. So have the circle before you just go out there and just go on your own. It has been one of the absolute best decisions I have made in my life is to bet on me.
Right.
That's literally what I did. I bet on me. I looked at what I was providing other people in the school system, in my position. I was also very smart or intuitive or, had the wherewithal to use the information that was available in my job to better myself as an entrepreneur. For example, our school system is offering professional development, right? The professional development would be on being a better leader. Well, the one thing for sure you have to lead when you're an entrepreneur is you're a leader, even if you don't lead like other people, you're not managing by, you're leading yourself. Right. So I was like, sign me up. I want to go to this leadership course. And while I'm in the leadership course, I'm not taking notes on how I'm going to be a better assistant principal. I'm taking notes for how I'm going to apply this in my business. Yes. So whatever industry you're in, I remember you talking about you being in the retail industry, being in the hotel industry, and just listening to you tell your story. I know without a shadow of a doubt, you've applied all those systems you learned, all those processes into your entrepreneurship
and like
company.
Offering, if your company is going to pay you to go send you for the training, I'm gonna say the biggest thing for me was getting all the sales training that I got, because in any business that you're in, you're going to have to sell before you can hire your first salesperson. You're going to have to sell. So I too took all the trainings. People were like, a lot of people who don't have that type of mindset, they think it's like just another thing to do. They think it's a waste of their time, right? But to be able to say, no, I appreciate somebody who's going to pour into me, but not only am I going to use this for their job, I'm going to know how to use it for whatever else I'm doing as well. So that was definitely super smart.
And I did for at least the last 2 years being employed at the school system.
You already saw the way out. You already knew you were going to have a way out of this.
Right. And I at that time, I didn't know, like 2 years out, I didn't know I was leaving. But I did know I wanted to build my business. So I was making moves.
That leads me. So I've been calling you for years and was like, baby, you have built these massive teams. Like you have to be known for as Christi, the team builder, like the master team builder.
Hashtag master team builder was my hashtag.
You have to be known for that, because that's like, when I think of you, I think of that. So with that being said, so you have people on your team that are self-starters and they know their why, so they're going to get out there and do what they have to do. But then you also have those that for some reason, maybe they bought into the idea of being an entrepreneur, but they didn't know what that was going to entail. So give us some things that you kind of help bring the bottom up, or do you even focus on the bottom? You just, because you know how they have that, what is it, Pareto's law, that's like like you focus on the 20% that's operating or that's like producing, and then I guess you just let the 80% do it as they will. Like, what are your strategies when it comes to a productive team?
So one of the things that we use in our industry is like running with your runners. So the people who are already running, you run with them, and those would be like the top 20,
at their pace.
Top 20%.
At their pace, or does it matter?
Well, it's not at their pace. So it'd be like, I'm a leader, and I'm looking down or looking across or looking out at my team, and I'm picking the ones who are doing the sales, who are putting into place the trainings that I put out there. Like they are like coming to me and saying, hey, let's set up a one-on-one, because I offer my calendar for a one-on-one to meet with me, and they actually book the one-on-ones. And when they come to the one-on-ones, they're saying, I've done this, I've done that. My goal is to do this. How can I go from here to here? Those are my runners. Those are people who are not just saying what they want, they're actually doing the things to get what they want. And then there are others who would not be considered a runner, which would be like how you said, they're the ones at the bottom who might be the 80%. Working with them. What I do, because everybody's not going to be a runner. Everybody doesn't go into entrepreneurship to even want to aspire to do it full time. Every entrepreneur isn't going to be a CEO that does it full time. Every entrepreneur business isn't going to go up to a six-figure business, and not even their goal. Some people fall upon a six-figure. They're just having fun with what they're doing, and then something blows up and it happens. And so I like to ask them what their why is. And some people are just doing it for the fun of it. You know, their jobs, I have people who they love their career. They're nurses, they're doctors, they're counselors. They absolutely, positively love their career. And this is just fun for them. The entrepreneurship is something that takes them away from the stress of their career. And they just like sewing. And somebody mentioned to them, like, you could sell these things. And they're like, put it on Etsy. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put it on Etsy. And then they are like, well, I'm making a couple hundred on Etsy. And so, maybe I want to find out how I can make a grand off of it. So it's really not about the money. They're doing it for fun, and they just want to actually make the fun a little bit more fun. Like it's become a little bit more fun to make more money. It's like a challenge now. Because people who are successful as nurses, doctors, and they have challenge in them. Like they like the push above and beyond. Like you don't get to being a nurse manager just because you just like nursing. There's something about that challenge. It's something about, maybe it's the recognition of it. It's something in that makes you want to go above and beyond. It could be the fact that your mom's going to pay attention. Like people have different reasons why they decide to go to the next level. And I just try to get to what that reason is and help them with that reason, instead of trying to push on them what I think they should do. Like, you could really kill this, and you could really be. And if they keep saying, people came to me like that and was like, this whole room, like this whole convention right now is your team. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm glad, my yes helped them.
See,
I wasn't for that.
The crazy thing is, so
you've come to me and have said, you could be doing this. I'm like, yeah, that's
and
great.
I was getting ready to say, so, and it's funny, as you're talking about this, it just dawned on me, and you are correct. It's like we're harder on ourselves, or we can't necessarily see ourselves how other people see us. So it's those things, though, that when you keep hearing it over and over, I think at some point you have to pause and be like, okay, you know what? Let me give this a thought, because I've known and I know multiple people who have gone and tried. They have tried. I've seen them try to do what it is that you do. And for some reason, they fell short and, let it go and turn back into other things. So kudos and like giving you all your roses and flowers, because I'm telling you, and working with women, like, I don't know, do you have any men on your team? I don't, like this.
I have a couple.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
okay.
I do have a couple, and a couple of them who are bossing it. Okay. Like they are killing it. Have accessories named after them because they're doing so well with this. So yeah, we do have men who are doing a great job and killing the game. There are other men I'm like, you should really do this, and they just can't get past the facts. I'm like,
it's the woman led,
I'm like, you could really do great at this. Like you have the charm. They're gonna buy from you just because you say it's cute, but they won't, jump on it. So I understand that. It's, what would I say when it comes to, because your point of, everybody hasn't done it, and people who done it successfully, even more successful than I have found their lane. I've found my lane. I found what I'm good at. Women are are definitely, we're a special breed.
Mm-hmm. We are.
And there's a lot of things to take in consideration when you are coaching, mentoring, pushing, helping women in any industry. But it's literally the same thing that I had to do as assistant principal in a school system, and the same thing it's translated amazingly well over into what I do now. And part of it really is because people see the word sales as, I don't know, scary, like the salesman who's trying to push a car on you. But literally in everything you do, you are selling.
Oh, no.
In education as a teacher, we're selling this process to the kids that we're teaching it to. As parents, we are selling everything that we think is important to our kids. Like, we're selling how they should wash dishes to them day in and day out. We're listening and getting to know what kind of child it is. The way that I sell washing dishes to my oldest is not the way that I'm going to sell washing dishes to my youngest. The way that I sell getting good grades to one of my 16-year-olds is not the same way I'm going to sell the reason for getting good grades to my other 16-year-old. And so we literally, in everybody, in every part of their life, sells things day in and day. If you just change the way you see that, you could be successful selling anything to anybody.
Right. And the point you were bringing up about like selling differently to different people, I think that I'm sure you got a lot of that from when you took your personality test, right? So when you take your personality test, of course, you know about you, but then you want to know, like, okay, well, I know what I am, but what are all of the rest of them?
Right.
And so to realize that there's all these different personalities and they thrive off of different things, and, you know, how you talk to them and what you say and all this kind of stuff. I know that, you know, that kind of maybe helps shape how you interact with people in your home, your team, your, you know, all the things, right?
It has been a process. I wasn't this person that just woke up, decided to do this business full time, and then just decide, oh, you know, I know these people, they're like this. It's realizing who I am, realizing that I mesh very well with certain kind of people. I don't mesh very well with certain kind of people. Certain kind of people really irk me with the way that they do things. Certain kind of people, I don't understand why this clicks for you, like motivation. You know, I just get up and get stuff done. That motivates me. Not getting things done would be a problem to me. You know, like, I pride myself on being somebody that gets stuff done. Yeah. I pride myself on seeing a problem and not seeing it as a means or a reason to quit, but I see it as a challenge to finding out a solution, and not understanding how everybody don't do that. And then realizing that it's not that they don't do it, they do it in a different way that doesn't look the same way that I do it, right?
Okay. So, and it wasn't until I learned his personality when I understood it. So Lancer, right? He's a creative, right? So I'm the person, if I say, okay, we're going to work on this logo or this website, I go ahead and start working. I'm doing everything that I need to do to start working. Him, on the other hand, he's working through it in his mind. But it's crazy because it wasn't until just a few months that I learned this. But when I look back at everything, like every project that we've ever done, it makes total sense.
Right.
Like, because I'm thinking, okay, it's 3 days. I don't see any type of action going on. But boom, as soon as he sits down and he's at the computer, this masterful masterpiece comes out. And I'm like, God. So again, it was frustrating, you know, a while ago. But now that I know that literally is his process, it makes me breathe easier. I'm like, I know he's working. I know he's thinking about it. I know he's working on it. He's just solving that. He doesn't outwardly solve the problem.
Right.
Me, you're going to see
you on a computer for 3 days, and then it's done at the end of the third day. Him, he's not going to be at the computer 3 days, but the third day he sits down, it's done.
And it's something that you could not have. Yeah. So I totally, you know, personalities is kind of my thing now. I'm like on this thing about just trying to learn how everybody ticks, because I have been so self-centered for, you know, all of my life. So because, you know, not having any kids, not having anything, like, I could just focus on myself.
Right.
So when you're focusing, and I'm trying to be, not even trying, I'm becoming a better leader. And so with that, I have to look at how everybody else ticks.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So you have since you've kind of turned the chapter and you've gone on to build this massive team and all of that, I know you're putting in place like having your daughters help out and work out. What are some of the things that you have like been delegating? Some of the things that, at the point that you're at now, you just no longer can do, but you can delegate, or that you just need to delegate? Like, have you already started making a list of things that you need to just offload to keep that productivity and that next big thing going?
Yeah, so where I'm at in the business right now is really in the beginning, you have to do everything. Mm-hmm. I was doing things that I didn't like doing, but it was required. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the finances to outsource. My kids weren't necessarily old enough to do it. They were still doing their things. Right. There were things that they could do that was fun to them, but then they become teenagers and it's not necessarily fun to work with mommy anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I now am in a place, or I was in a place, and I've taken things back over, where I had 2 virtual assistants and then an in-house assistant, and I immediately handed off the things that I didn't like doing. Mm-hmm. Like I don't.
How was that feeling?
Oh my God, it was amazing. I loved it. I was able to only operate in the things that I enjoy doing. I love helping other people reach their goals. I love helping people, talking them through and them realizing what their why is. Mm-hmm. And then once they know their why, creating some goals. Mm-hmm. And then once they know their goal, how to reach their goal. And then, because how to reach their goal is like in the business. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you reach that goal with life? Mm-hmm. Because you have to reach this goal. Like, you have to maybe, go live 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. Or you might need to meet with vendors once a week. Well, now how do you put that into your life as a mom, mm-hmm. as a wife, as a caretaker of your grandmother? Because mm-hmm. that's the thing now. People who are at our age are mm-hmm. now taking care of grandparents, mm-hmm. now taking care of parents. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. You got your kids, they're in college and they're having their own kids. Now you get to take care of mm-hmm. your parents. That's something we have to now put into the plan mm-hmm. as well. And so I have teenagers now, and that's getting to their personalities. Like, one is excellent at cleaning, organizing, putting things together. She doesn't want to have anything to do with people. Mm-hmm. Like, don't ask her to go to a vending event right. and sell product to people she don't want to talk to them. Now, she'll go to the vending event and be in the back and back Stocking it up. Yep. Mm-hmm. And people are buying stuff. She'll, like you said, put stock back mm-hmm. up, things like that. But having to talk to a customer and say, thanks for shopping with you. Oh, this is really nice. She's not doing that. Mm-hmm. The other one, on the other hand, hates everything about being in my office that has no interaction with people. Mm-hmm. She would rather do the vending event and talk to the people and upsell the people and ask them about their kids. And because she's asked them about the kids, she now knows that, let me show you this. That's her personality. Mm-hmm. And so it's been nice to basically I remember talking to you about how you said you were throwing things at the wall to figure out who you are. I'm basically helping my teenagers not have to do that as much when they go out, because they're throwing things at the wall now within my business to see what they do and don't like. Mm-hmm. And I'm helping them translate that into what they should do, because, they're like, well, I don't want to work with you for the summer. I actually want to go get my own job. And then I talk to them like, well, what have you not liked about working with me? Mm-hmm. What kind of jobs out there probably aren't the best job for you to apply for? Because you're going to get paid, but after a couple of weeks, you're not going to be there anymore, because you're like, I don't like this, I don't like that. And so, like, the one is going to go and work at Chick-fil-A, but she's not going to be the, hey, like, she's probably going to be better off on fries and better off on looking at the 17 orders up there and packing them up, and then passing to the person who says, here you go, have a great day. Have a great day. She probably shouldn't be put up at the front. Because she's going to be straight face. She's going to be like, welcome to Chick-fil-A. And that's not going to, she's happy on the inside. Right. But people who are, it's not going to translate to the customers. Yes. And they're probably going to be complaining about her. And she's going to be like confused. Because she's like,
having a good day. I'm good. I'm like,
exactly. So having those conversations with them so they can see how they come across to other people and how people are seeing them, even though, like my other daughter, who is loud, her voice just carries, and she doesn't see that. She doesn't see it that way. And I'm like, yes, but to like our other daughter, you too much for her, because she's, just
that self-awareness. But they probably, it takes a lot of people a long time to be self-aware about, how you are and how you project and how you carry yourself. So,
but I'm hoping I'm giving them that jump start to things that people don't see until they're 30 or 35, that they can figure out before they're 20 and can use knowing who they are and go quicker into their life's purpose because they know who they are. And so that's the way entrepreneurship has translates over into my real house.
So one more thing about that. So how do you turn off? So like when it comes to
turn off, what's that?
Well, but see, that's what I'm saying. So like you were just talking about how, you're doing all the things and hoping it translates and helping them. But like, do you get a moment to where you can turn off and you can just be Christi, the bonnet wearing, like, do you do any of that? Or right now you're on like go mode?
See, I feel like when you're doing something that really aligns with who you are as a person, the thing of my mom saying, do what you would do even if you're getting paid for it, that there really is no turn off because you are showing up.
Hold on now. You got to turn off. Because I know Jeremy's like, I just want my wife.
But this is his wife. Like who I am in business, right. That is me. Okay. Like the hustle, the go after to get things done, the planner, the problem solver, even in my real life, I'm making lists. I'm checking for my husband when he says, I would really like for us to do this. That becomes a list. Like that's Myers-Briggs, like that's who I am instinctively. And it was funny because I had a conversation with him and he was like, because I said, if I wasn't here, if you weren't married to Christi and you didn't have this lifestyle or something changed, you were married to me and something changed in our, dynamics, what would you do? Because right now he loves to cook. So he pretty much does the cooking for our house. And I said, so let's say I love to cook and you didn't have to do that anymore. What would you do? And he's like, well, then I'd spend more time outside, playing with the dogs. And I said, well, that's the difference between us. Because if I wasn't, let's say I did have to cook. If I wasn't responsible for cooking no more, I wouldn't go outside and play with dogs. I'd find another business to take over. I'd find another business to run. Yeah, I'd find another way to make money. I'd find this is instinctively who I am. Like when you ask somebody who's a doctor, you say, if you didn't have to be a doctor, what would you do? And their answer is like, well, I just go run my own clinic. Then that's instinctively who they are. You know what I mean? And that's me. Like I am instinctively on planning. I'm instinctively on routines and processes and strategizing. Like that's instinctively who I am. The joy is I now get paid for it, right? And so now when I'm on vacation, right? I could take a vacation. I pack up because you know what's going to bother me? I won't enjoy my vacation if I don't pack the book. If I don't pack the iPad, if I don't pack I won't enjoy it because my mind is going to be there.
Oh, wow.
And so what makes me enjoy Aruba, what makes me enjoy DR, or what makes me enjoy is I bring those things and before everybody else wakes up, I get those things done. Like I'll wake up at 5:00 and I'll get those things off my mind, off my brain. And then we can go to the pool and I'm good. We having fun. But if you're like, you can't bring none of that stuff, then I'm up at 5 a.m. like, I really want to do this. Or there's something at the pool that's going to make me like, oh, that's a great idea. And I need to jot it down. And then I can go on. And it's honestly, this is how much this is me. This would get me in trouble. This got me in trouble in college. I remember being in a college course and taking out my checkbook. And the professors came over while he was lecturing and came over to me and said, I want to see you after class. And I really had a whole attitude about it because I'm like, I have an A. Like, what's the problem? And he was like, I think that was really disrespectful for you to take out that checkbook in the middle of my lecture. And I explained to him, I said, honestly, if you wanted me to pay attention, it was more respectful for me to take it out and jot down what was on my mind that moment so I could go back to listening to you. Because if I didn't take that checkbook out at that time, you know what I was sitting there doing? Telling myself over again, don't forget to do that. Don't forget to do that. And I wouldn't have heard a thing that you said. But because I didn't take it out and like balance my whole checkbook. I just really had, I forgot to put this Walmart thing down. I took it out, wrote down the Walmart thing that I just paid for and put it back up. That drove him crazy. But that's how my mind works. If you want me to be present with you, then if something comes to my mind, I need to take it out of my brain, put it down so I can continue to be present with you. That's me.
Let me tell you, honey. When I started this, I said, I'm learning more about you than I have known about you within the whole 20 years plus that we've known of each other. And so this is great. I really love it. I know I've gotten a little bit more into the psyche of Christi because I've learned some stuff about you today. I'm like, ooh, okay, all right. like I said, the key point is knowing who you are, right? Yep. Because when you know who you are, then, you know, when things arise, you can comfortably and like really tell people, this is just who I am. And it's like, take me as that or take off. You know what I'm saying? So I love it. We want everybody to make sure that you're always tuning in, right? But do us that, what do they call it? The free currency, the free social currency. Like this channel, subscribe to this channel, like this podcast episode, share it with your friends, keep the text, calls, DMs coming because we need all the motivation that we can get.
Absolutely.
Just because, you know, again, we're still in the early stages. So until next time, this has been Convene with the Strategy Team, and we'll see you.
We'll see you.